Benjamin Zamish, author of Creating Freedom and the founder of Move, Learn, Create. And I'm back with episode 22 of Thematic Serenity, where I am helping people become more receptive to the magic that is available in this life. We're talking about the human potential, the unexpressed magnitude that is inside of you, driving you crazy. And we're just taking this one piece at a time. So don't get overwhelmed, but be fully engaged. Don't discount any one little piece of wisdom or any one of these frameworks that I'm sharing with you. We're here every week. They are each absolutely necessary. This is a very complex mechanism that you're walking around with. It is not easy. You know, it's not easy for any of us. There is a method to this madness. There is a reason that we are living in a cosmos and not a chaos. It is because there is an order, there is a way that things work, and what intelligence is being able to identify what those things are, what those patterns are, what the laws are, the way that life expresses, and then to be able to align yourself with that. That is the responsibility and the blessing of being a human being. That's why we're here doing this. So, this is about when is the best time to leave a bad situation. And this is relevant for everybody, right? I mean, nobody gets by without finding themselves in a really bad situation at least once. And when I talk about the struggle so often, I often say, you know, we keep running into the same problems because we're refusing to learn what it is that we're supposed to learn from the situation. You know, life is desperately trying to give us something, to give us a lesson, to offer us the chance to build the strength that we need to progress further in the direction that we really desire, you know, to move towards. But when we don't rise to the challenge, you know, when we don't overcome it or we get too caught up in it, oftentimes we find ourselves in a really bad situation where we see that our growth is just, you know, made impossible by all of these circumstances that have gotten out of control. So that's what we're here talking about today. Hopefully I can come at this in a way that serves you and hopefully helps you to, you know, overcome some of the hardships and struggles that you may be dealing with in your life. So let's get into it. I mean, I don't have to ask you guys, how many times have you felt trapped by a really bad set of circumstances where you feel like you're drowning in the negativity of your situation, where it just takes over every aspect of your life, and you look around and you realize that you really can't grow anymore. You really can't progress. It's just gotten to a point where it's not possible. With, you know, yeah, if we were at our best, if we were rocking it, you know, hitting every note, then we could do it. But, you know, we're not, and we're struggling, and we're doing the best we can. And right now, in this situation, you know, we may look around and just acknowledge that we are no longer able to expand, you know, our life in a positive way. We are not able to progress in a way that will serve us or serve the world until we get clear of whatever this one thing is, or two or three things, you know, that have somehow managed to grow into this incredible, you know, negative swamp that just is sucking our lifeblood from us. We've all been there. I mean, one of my last jobs comes to mind, and actually a lot of my last jobs come to mind, but it's not just the job. That is the easiest place to go to, but it's not just the job. It's the relationships that can be like that, can be like poison or become like poison, or how many circumstances, how many life situations, you know, do we get ourselves in because of just poor choices? I mean, I can't tell you the things that I subjected myself to because of addictions and these habits and basically compulsive choices that I was not able to consciously control. I was not able to conduct myself in a way that I knew would serve me and lead me towards freedom. So I kept going deeper and deeper into bondage, into these traps that I set for myself, you know, these snares. And once you get in there and you're caught in that web deep enough, there's no gentle way to break out. There's no gentle way to separate ourselves from that. And I think every one of us has found ourselves you know, at least one of these situations. And I think for me, except for maybe just the very last couple really overwhelming circumstances, thank God, you know, thank the goddess that I have a couple wins under my belt. But other than that, I don't think I ever really learned how to gracefully escape these predicaments. It always took, when I look back and I'm honest with myself, it always took total disaster for me to get out of the trap, for me to break free, you know, from these chains and get out of that situation. It took literal cataclysm, like the end of everything, total destruction, to force me to leave these situations. And at the time, these are devastating. When I talk about these cataclysms, you know, these disasters, it was devastating. But now, looking back, what grace, what blessing! Nothing could have saved me from where I had gotten myself. It took something that terrible, you know, to force me in the right direction. And I'm so thankful for not only for that grace, but that I have now the ability to see that and to fill those spaces that were painful, to fill those spaces with gratitude, because that's how my experience is now. When I turn and look back at it, it's just overflowing with thank you, Lord, for those disasters. So, because the reality was I wasn't getting out by myself. I was too weakened by the situations that I had allowed to develop, you know, and to define my experience. So by the time I really would realize I was in desperate straits and things were really bad, it was too late. I was drowning, and I just couldn't make it. So this went on for a long time. And then eventually, you know, after homelessness and in prison and some really heavy doses of that grace I was talking about, I can't tell you, I can't count how many times I must have almost OD'd on God's grace, because it got really bad. But finally, I got it. You know, like it clicked. I got the point, and everything changed. And I no longer allowed from that point on, ever. I never allowed things to get so bad that I couldn't break free. It wasn't like I didn't test myself. It wasn't like I stopped pushing myself and experiencing pain and struggle and any of those things. It wasn't that. It was that I all of a sudden had the clarity to manage myself in such a way that would never allow me to get so far in that I couldn't break free. And so I experienced this new power and this new strength that I'm always trying to share and you know, somehow impart pieces of this to you. There's this new courage that comes from this knowledge that you can try anything. You can do anything. You can test yourself in any way, because you know, I knew finally that I would always rescue myself before things turned hopeless. So I was able to live fully. And it's incredible to imagine life without this one aspect. I mean, you know, the joy, the excitement, the intensity of life just goes out the window if you're not empowered in this way to move forward fearlessly. So in a way, I think this was the beginning of my true freedom. This was the beginning of it, because I was liberated from fear. I was liberated from so much fear, because I finally knew that the struggle would never bury me. I was then empowered to embrace it. And that is such a powerful statement if we can come to the point in our lives where we can say that. Because I know the struggle will never bury me, I can now embrace it. And now we can move into the actual experience of honoring the struggle the way that I'm always talking about. Because if we can't do that, we're never going to be able to extract, you know, to mine all the treasures that we've laid up for ourselves there, you know, just by being alive and answering the call of life and engaging with life in the intense way that we do when we're in the struggle. You just wouldn't believe the things that you've earned that are you know, going unclaimed. So this is such a huge step that we all have to make. We're so controlled by our fears already. You know, we're so scared of starting something new at whatever it is, because we have this deep fear of losing the things, you know, that we've clung to for so long, that give us comfort and solace. And so much of our fear is in our head and you know, made up for so many reasons and in so many ways. But this is one thing where we do have this real fear from experience that we know if we go too far into something, we're not going to be able to get ourselves out. So when you add that onto all of our, you know, irrational fears, all of the compulsive, you know, fears that we kind of create in our own mind, we become paralyzed. We become totally immobilized. This is a huge reason why people aren't able to overcome their fears when they want to so badly, because this is a legit one that we've experienced. Like, you can go too far. You can cross the line, and if you're not playing at your best, if you're, you know, if you don't have the time and the energy in your life yet to, or you feel like you don't, to cultivate the necessary clarity and to have the perspective and to feel empowered in the ways that I've just described, then it's going to be very, very difficult for you to really stand up and put one foot in front of the other and go down some of these paths that you have to go down to get where it is that you're ultimately seeking to get. So there's so many times in our life because of this that we won't accept, we won't commit to even a proven process, even something that we can see right in front of our eyes that it's worked in ways that we can't imagine. We want that so bad, and there it is right there. We can see it. It's beaming out at us. But we won't commit to it because, you know, we don't know if it'll be worth it in the end. We don't know if we'll get trapped. All of these fears that it might not be worth it because we fear disaster, because we don't know if we'll have the strength to get us out. So, I mean, how do you possibly move forward from a place like that? And I think that it's really important to acknowledge these things in a real way. I mean, I could have said everything I just said in like a really clever quote that would have taken 10 seconds instead of, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. But that's not that's not going to do it. That's not going to do it. It won't work. We're not going to really wake ourselves up and address this with the focus and the attention that it needs for us to really begin to break free from these things. So how do we move forward? How do we actually overcome this reality that we're all living in? And the answer is we start from where we are at. Okay? You can only start from where you are at. It's like that hilarious thing that Alan Watts always says, where the guy asks for directions and says, you know, do you know how to get to, you know, to Christ Church or whatever? And he says, well, I do know the way, sir, but if I were you, I wouldn't start from here. And that's this thing that we all have. Like, yeah, we know the way. We just don't want to start from where we're at. Like, what? You're always going to be where you're at. Let's get real about it and let's figure out how to start from where we're at. So we're never going to know our strength until we remember we have it. Okay, we'll never know our power until we rediscover it. And the only way to do that is to begin right now. We have to move into this in a real way with our whole being. We have to acknowledge we've all allowed situations into our life. We've allowed ourselves to become compromised and to let things in that, you know, at best don't serve us, but more than likely, and in most cases, you know, these are things that directly damage us. These are things that actually affect us in a very real, very negative way, and they're there. And not only are they there, but we're supporting them with our efforts. And we end up working so hard to cover up this truth, because instead of acknowledging it, So the amount of work that has to go in to keep ourselves distracted and pacified with these petty comforts and shallow pleasures that never fix the problem. It's unbelievable how much work we're doing just to keep ourselves from addressing this one issue. So step one is to identify what are these situations. What are the things in our life that need to go? And we have to be honest with ourselves, brutal, ruthless even, you gotta be serious about this and allow yourself to feel the hurt and then feel through the hurt and the pain that's gonna come when we acknowledge, what will feel like what is lost, what we've lost, acknowledge how much we've sacrificed. Now, of course, nothing has actually been lost, or else I wouldn't be talking about, honoring the struggle and the struggle being so beautiful. But it's going to feel that way while we're in it. It's going to feel that way while we're in it. And that's, I think, probably what we're so scared of. We don't want to feel, the weight of wasted time and wasted effort and lost opportunity. Oh, like that scene in Interstellar where they go down to that water planet by the black hole and all that time goes by, and there's that heart-wrenching scene where Matthew McConaughey watches like 25 years of film from his children, and it hits you, this reality of missed time, of lost life, of how things just go by in the blink of an eye. We are terrified of that. That is the worst imaginable reality, to have to come to a place where you have to look back on your life and acknowledge that. And the only way that will actually ever happen to you is if you don't stand up and claim what is there. If you stand up at any point and acknowledge and claim what is there, it will be beautiful, I promise you. The only reason you will never be able to see the beauty is because you won't have the strength to turn and shine a light on it. That you spend all of your days looking in the other direction because you're afraid of a period of discomfort until you break through to the other side, okay? So until you get to that other side, to the place where the light shines through and illuminates all of these treasures that you've earned that are there, it's gonna feel like loss. It's gonna feel like sacrifice. So, we have to be willing to do that. And I'm telling you right now, you have to be willing to do that. And it's gonna be the most beautiful process in the end. I promise you it will be. So step two, after we acknowledge what these things are, and we look at the scope of the thing, that we've allowed in, and how much effort has gone into maintaining it, and to kind of allowing these things to function in our world. Step two is to take action to leave that situation immediately. When we allow ourselves the clarity to see what it is in our life that is detrimental to our growth, to our happiness, to our health, to our emotional stability, to our intellectual development, to any aspect of the human system that allows life to express itself in a greater degree. Any part of that, if any of that is being stifled, oppressed, or maybe even directly attacked by something or someone in your life, it has to go. You have to cut it out of your life, and action is needed right now. So I'm not saying that you have to walk out the door right now, because for many of us, we're in a circumstance or a situation where that is really not very plausible of an approach. It's possible. It's always possible. You can drop everything and leave right this second. You will not starve to death no matter what the situation is. You're going to be okay. But for most of us, that's never, we're not going to operate that way. We're not built like that. We won't be at our best that way, which is fine. But you have to take action to move towards that direction. I get it. There's so many variables that need to be attended to. So draw up a plan to attend to those variables. A plan has to be formed. A date has to be set. Strength must be, cultivated within you. Support must be reached out to. These things have to happen. Steps need to be taken for you to move in the right direction. Work must be done. Distance must be created internally, if not externally, from that thing that's in your life, so that when that day arrives that you marked on the calendar, which you're going to do, you walk up, you stand up and you walk out the door. Okay? And so our original question, when is the best time to do this? When is the best, most suitable time to exit? You know, when you see that you're stuck in one of these situations. Well, I'm sorry, but there isn't one. That's why it's a bad situation. If you were in a good situation, you know, you would have all kinds of strength and clarity and freedom to move around the way you want to. You're not. You're in a bad situation. The longer you're in that situation, the more disempowered you're going to be to leave. The more you talk about this situation, the less strength you're going to have. The longer you wait, the more difficult it will become, and the more variables will grow and emerge out of the, you know, all of the madness, whatever form it's taken. The more time that goes by, the more variables there will be for you to control to have to actually exit. All right? I mean, the truth, the hard but simple truth is that there will never be a good time to leave any bad situation. So just do it, okay? Just do it. You can do it. I know you can do it. You can take the steps. I know you've got it in you, and I'm just here to encourage you, to push you, to motivate you. I don't like that word, but to inspire you, you know, to try to give you a vision of what might be waiting for you on the other side. Because if you really believed it was worth it, you would do it. You know, if you really believed it, you would do it. I know you would. Because we're all, you know, we're not frivolous people. We're out here putting in an incredible effort, you know, doing our best in this life in whatever way we know how. And if you just knew, if you knew it, you know, that it would be worth it, you would do the things that need to be done. You would do what was needed. So if you can just start taking the right steps, you know, please take advantage of the resources that I've created and made available to you. Go in the description for the video, sign up for the free stuff. Okay, just click on all the free stuff. Do it one thing at a time. Go in order and just work your way through those things and experience what it's like to actually have a method to create that internal distance, to cultivate that clarity, to discover your strength, to experience momentum. I mean, how long has it been since you felt the wind in your sails? You know, we're out here swimming upstream, and I'm like surfing on the waves like, you guys, you're doing it wrong. Check it out. This is how you do it. So please do that. And keep coming back here. Stay engaged with me through these weekly things. I put a lot into these because I know you can take it. It might take you a little longer. You know, if I made them like 7 or 8 minutes, you might watch more of them. But eventually, you're gonna realize that 7 or 8 minutes doesn't do it, and you really have to get engaged. You have to get engaged. You have to get involved. You have to get involved. So thank you for being involved with me. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Go over to themanicserenity.com. Check out all the resources. I've got all the videos are up on the blog. It's a work in progress. It doesn't look that great right now, but maybe by the time you see it, this video, it probably will. So I'll keep working on it. I'll keep coming back for you every week. Please do the same. Engage, comment. Let me know what you think. Hit the like, and most importantly, share this with people. If you're watching these videos and you're not sharing them with anyone, stop being so selfish. Like, people need this in their life, okay? People need this. So help me out. I can only reach so many people. I need you to share this in whatever way you can. push it out on your Facebook, do whatever. Send it to just like 2 or 3 people that you know, this week's would resonate with these people. And it could do a lot. You don't know what you might be doing for another person, and that's huge. That's why we're here. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Let life happen. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next week.